Welcome to batch processing and on-premises support for Eric's ToolBox. Hey, I'm Eric, and I don't know if you have tried my ToolBox yet, but it's an app that enables you to quickly write a piece of code and run the code without deploying and compiling and all that good stuff. In the newest version, we have added two things. First of all, we have added support for on-prem deployment. So we support version 19, 20 and up, and you need to get a license for the ToolBox in your FLF file, the usual stuff when we're on-prem, but the ToolBox can now work on-prem also. The other thing is that we have added a new module, whatever we call it, called batch processing. And the idea behind batch processing is to kind of, you have to do something on a lot of records. It might be very simple search and replace. It might be a very complex operation. And instead of, as you can do now in ToolBox, just write a bunch of code, we can write only the essential part. Let me show you how that works. So here is the ToolBox, and the way the ToolBox works is that you can write code on one side of the screen, and you click run, and the program runs instantaneously, and you get the output on the other side of the screen. We have a check mark here that instead of popping up dialogues, then we capture them instead and show them in this console. So hello or message kind of work the same as print. Anyway, there are other videos on the channel that shows you how this thing works. So I'm going to jump straight into batch processing. So the idea behind batch processing is that we want to make a search and replace. We want to process, we want to work on a single table on a single field. And I'll click start, and then I tell, well, I want to work on the customer table, and I want to work on the credit limit field. And I, of course, could have selected any field. I could have selected any table. It doesn't matter if it's from Microsoft or from other app or from custom code. Anything goes. So now I have to get the opportunity to define filters. Maybe I don't want to run this on everything. Maybe I only want to run it on a specific subset of data. In this case, I don't really care, so I'll just click continue. And now the batch processing tells me that, hey, there are 5 records within the filter. So the filters we just set here, there are 5 records. So if I were to set a filter here saying that I want from 10,000 till 30,000, hit continue, then I only get 3. Maybe we'll run this on 3. That's fine. Oh man, that's 5. So let's run it on everything. Let's run it on 3. So now it will tell me the current value. The current value of what? Well, the current value of the field we selected. So this case is credit limit. So we can see that for some reason this is 123. So I look at this and this looks like the right subset of data. This looks like the old value. So I click continue, and now I get, and you can see this kind of looks like a small version of the one behind me. So here we can actually write code, but we cannot really, we cannot start writing a long program, but we can write simple code. Of course, this is a number. So let's say we want to set the credit limit to 1,000. So I type 1,000 because that is a program. A very simple program, but nonetheless, it's a program. And you can see I cannot press continue, so I will click verify. And it tried to run this on the last record of our data set and said on that one, the result would be 1,000, which kind of makes sense because we put in 1,000. So I hit continue, and now we get a verification. saying that, hey, on this one, this was the old value, this is the new value. We get them exactly the way we want. We can look and see this is fine. We hit continue, and now we can make a decision. Do we want to run on modify? Do we want to validate? So I can say, yeah, I want on modify records, and I want to validate the field also. Some cases you want to validate. Most cases you actually do want to validate, but there might be cases and tables where you do not want to validate. I hit execute, and I'm done. So now we could go to customers, which has a ToolBox advertisement here. Ignore that. And we can see that the credit limit is now $1,000 on this one. But if I go back to the ToolBox here and I hit batch processing, we can see that there are a history of previous runs. So the one I just did down here, customer credit limit, new value of 1,000. And we even have a log saying, hey, we changed this record from this to this. So we keep a complete log of everything that's happened. And if we really want to change, say, oh, by the way, that didn't work. We can undo this and go back to the old value. But let's make this a bit more interesting. So I will go and take the exact same thing again. And we could go with the same 3 again. So we put in a filter, we get that there are 3 records within the filter and the current values are 1,000. I continue. So what we could do here, instead of now we just, let's say that we want to increment this with 10%. So that would require us to create a program that would multiply the existing value with a factor. So to get access to the existing record, it's called rec. And you can see that there's actually a tooltip here. So we can say rec dot, and then I can press Control space, and I get all the fields we know here. So if I start to search for credit amount, credit limit. So we could simply say credit limit times 1.1. So this is a way more sophisticated program now. So we take the existing value and then we're multiplying it with 1.1. So let's hit verify. And in this case, I think we are probably hitting one of the 123s. So we get a 135. That looks fine. I click continue. And we can see now that the 3 records within our filter, it says current value 1,000, new value 1,100. That's perfect. So I can go about this. I'll do the modification again. Do you want to execute this change on the select records? Sure. So now we have changed them with a simple formula. But what if we wanted to do something more? Well, in that case, what we can do is that we can actually start out here. I'm just going to use the credit limit again, but now we're kind of misusing it. So let's create a variable here. Call it CL for credit limit, saying that this is a decimal. And then I'm going to create a function, get limit, that returns a decimal. And what I want to do is that I'll take credit limit, then I'll increment credit limit with 200, and then I will exit credit limit. On top of that, I'm gonna say that credit limit to begin with should be, let's say, 24 apparently was the. So this program by itself is a program I can click run, and nothing happens because we just set a variable to a value and then we never do anything, and the procedure we just defined here is not doing anything. But if I now go into batch processing with a active program sitting on this side of the screen, we do the same again. We'll take 18, we take 20, and let's just do it for everybody this time. So these are the existing values. The first 3 we played with, the last 2 we did not. I hit continue. So now what I want to do here is say, okay, this should be get limit. So let's verify value before, and I think we started with the 424 and we add 200, so the first one would be 624. So that seems to work okay. I hit continue. I hit continue. Oh no, we can see the new values here. That's actually, so current value is what we have, and then 624, 824,000. So now we actually, because we store, we have a variable between these lines, so suddenly we can make a connection between them. I know that this example does not make any sense, but the idea is that we can take code and then I say okay, and we run this, and we're all happy. So we can take code here, so we can write a library of functions that then can be called from within the batch processing if necessary. That is that's batch processing in the toolbox. Give the toolbox a try. It has a lot of cool features, and there's a lot of things that is so cumbersome to do without a tool like this, where you can get support tasks done in 5 minutes or less. Try it out and let me know how it goes. Bye.